Hello, namaste, and welcome. Today we'll be working towards some pretty deep twists and maybe some options for some interesting arm balances involving some of that heat and openness that we create in the twisting action. So let's get started. We'll begin in a seated position, cross-legged or kneeling, both absolutely welcome. Let's go ahead and immediately shut down the eyes as soon as you find that position. Hands can land wherever you want them to, in whatever way you'd like them to. And then immediately bringing just a sense of presence into the space around you. Starting to utilize your sense of hearing more as an observation. Observe the space around you with a sense of simple awareness. And in this simple awareness, you're simply noticing all the sounds within your range of hearing. Let your hearing jump from sound to sound, allowing yourself to act like a sponge. You're allowing an open awareness to absorb the content of the moment. And it's this very quality of receptivity, this quality of listening, that you start to take inside your body. And so with the same quality of awareness, start to become open to whatever's happening within the body. And instead of using hearing, we start to utilize feeling. As you start to feel into your body, start by softening any superficial tension across your body. Softening the forehead and the eyes, the jaw, the mouth, the throat, the ribs, the belly. And then take a nice long and very deep breath in. Very soft and releasing breath out. And start to feel your breath traveling through your body. Center your attention on the movement of your breath. And so there's a kind of focus that's happening on your breath. And with that, start to bring a little bit of expansion into your breath. So as you breathe in, send it way down to the pit of your belly, down to the lower back. Expand into the bottom of the torso first, and let it rise and fill up just very naturally, very gently towards the ribs. Let your exhale especially start to slow down. And take just a few breaths, looking to breathe in for about 5 or 6 seconds, and breathe out for the same, 5 or 6 seconds in, 5 or 6 seconds out. Let this be, more casual than formal. Don't try too much with it. Doesn't need to be your maximum breath. The important part is that we're slowing the breath down. So we focus on pacing of the breath, and that becomes a mirror to the pacing of the mind, the pacing of the heart rate. The entire experience of the body starts to become a little bit more consolidated, slowed down, and coherent. After the next exhale, drop the count, but maintain that rough pacing. And then we look to just, generally dab the brakes on the breath as we move through the practice. The context of that will change. Your heart rate will lift, but still, the general idea is to slow the breathing down. With that in mind, let's start to move the body. Go ahead and blink open the eyes and take a big inhale as you raise the arms up towards the ceiling, up towards the sky. Big breath in. And then interlacing your hands behind your lower back. Now be really gentle with this. As you roll back the shoulders, clasp your hands and start to lift your chest. But it's the very first thing we're doing. So don't force it, don't push it. Draw the belly in so it feels like the lower ribs are lifting up. And then draw your shoulder blades down. We'll just take 2 more good breaths here. Again, be conservative, about 50% of what you're capable of with your strength. Last one, big breath. And then gently releasing the arms and come into an eagle wrap. Right arm wrapping underneath the left one. Cross them up. If it's not quite time for that, give yourself a hug. Either way, drop your shoulder blades, but start to lift the elbows and chest up. As you exhale, curl the elbows in towards your ribs. Concentrate on rounding your upper spine. Do it again. Inhale to lift, a little bit of back bend, nothing too much. Exhale to roll it in. This time, unwrap your arms, reach up and stretch up, and then bring the arms to a cactus position. Elbows out to the side, flare them, squeeze the shoulder blades back and down, and then other way around. Left arm underneath the right one, wrap them up, shoulder blades down, lift the chest and elbows up. Exhale to roll the elbows in towards your ribs, your sternum. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale to curl in. This time, lifting up, same thing, reach up nice and big, and then cactus your arms. Squeeze the arms down into tabletop. Hands and knees position. Find a nice sturdy position, shoulders above the wrists, and move into cat-cow. Inhale, dip the belly down. Exhale to arch up through your spine. 1 breath to 1 movement. Inhale to dip. Exhale to arch. And part of the idea of the movement here is to synchronize breath and movement together. So you're letting the inhale carry the movement, the exhale carry the movement. Feel free to make it a little bit more dynamic if you want to. Some little side bends. Moving the hips around, getting the shoulder blades moving, even if there's anything funky going on in the wrists, get them moving. Just utilizing this all fours position to play with kind of just opening up those little bits of sticky areas around the body. 1 more breath or 2. And then returning to a neutral spine here in tabletop. We'll keep moving through this process, but inhale, raise your right arm up towards the ceiling. Big breath in. And then thread the needle. We're not going to pause. Just dive deep, reach across your mat. Do it again. Inhale, open out. Exhale, threading under. This time, open back out. And then placing the hand down on the floor, straight into the other side. Left arm raises up, really roll the chest back, and then thread the needle. Dive under, dive across the body. Inhale, lifting up, lifting out. Last one, under you go. This time, lifting up, lifting out, and then placing the hand down on the floor and coming straight up into downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift up your hips, and take a little bit of movement into it. So let your calves and your hamstrings awaken slowly through movement, pedaling a little on the spot if you like to. We'll just take maybe 2 more big breaths right there. Keep the legs moving and mobile. All that movement is a thing that's going to kind of open up and allow for that sense of spaciousness to come. 1 more big breath. And then starting to walk your hands backwards towards your feet into a nice gentle forward fold. Really soften out through the neck and the shoulders. Maybe a little bit of body weight shifting forward and back through toes to heels. Any old choice with the arms is welcome. You can just let them hang and dangle. You could catch opposite elbows above the head, but really concentrate on your neck being absolutely soft. Just 2 more big breaths here, nice and steady, nice and slow. And then bend your knees, draw your belly in, and roll up your spine all the way through to standing. Reach and stretch up nice and high, nice and tall. Draw your hands to prayer and set your hips into a squat, into chair pose. Belly in, keep it tight, lift the heels up off the ground, and then lower the hips just a little bit more, making the thighs wake up and light up. Not going to hold long, just a little engagement. One more big breath. And then drop the heels, stand up, reach up and stretch up. Interlace your hands behind the lower back again. Roll back to shoulders, and then fold. Hands coming up over the head. Relax the neck, bend the knees. Little bit of weight in the toes again. One more big breath here, very short hold. And release, 2 hands to the floor. Take an inhale to halfway lift. Very gentle in this one. Left hand down, right hand up towards the ceiling. Put a big bend into your left knee, straightening through the right leg. One big breath. And then switch. Right hand down. Inhale, left hand up. Again, be conservative, not your maximum. Exhale, release, and switch. Last one we do on each side. Right hand up. Exhale, bring it back down. Final one. Left hand raising up. Big bend in the right knee. Exhale, bring it back down. Walk your hands out to plank position. As soon as you're there, drop your knees to the floor and lower your body down until you're flat. Point the feet back hard. Take your hands wide and inhale, lift up your chest into cobra. Exhale to lower back down. 2 more of these and then we'll add to it. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Last one. Nice wave-like action, lifting up. Exhale, lower down. Now let's do it again and involve a little twist. Inhale, chest up. Drop the right shoulder towards the floor and rotate the spine just a little. Inhale, back through center. Over to the other side, left shoulder dropping in. This time lifting up through center and lowering down through center. Either do a push-up or come back through tabletop, hands and knees, and into downward facing dog once again. Hips up. Nice, easy walk to the top of your mat. Immediately, feet coming forwards. As you get there, take an inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold again. Inhale, stand tall and reach up. Big breath in. Again, hands to prayer. Sit the hips into a little chair pose. Squat. Belly in, nice and tight. Lift the heels up off the ground. And this time, lowering the hips a little bit further and all the way down to the heels. As you get there, raise up the arms towards the ceiling. Now, hold for a breath. Bit of challenge here. Suck the belly in. Now, keep it tight. Go slow as you try and stand up on point. All the way up. On the balls of the feet, stretching, reaching. One more big breath. Drop the heels and fold forward, hands coming down. Take an inhale to halfway lift, flatten out your back. Step your left foot back and lower the knee to the floor. Inhale, raise up the arms, one big breath at the top here. Exhale, turn to your right, left hand forward, right hand back, twist, sink the hips. Inhale, both arms up, big breath in. Hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. I'm going to come through a flow. Inhale, high plank, come forward. Exhale through to chaturanga, bend your elbows. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog, hips up. One more big breath, super short stop. And then a walk, a step, or a jump to the top. Feet forwards. Inhale to halfway lift as you get there. Exhale to fold back in. Inhale, stand tall, reach up, big breath in. This time we fold straight in, hands to the floor. Halfway lift. Exhale to step your right foot back. Lower the knee. Raise the chest and arms. Exhale, twist left. Right hand forward, left hand back. Rotate. Inhale, both arms up. Recenter the chest. Hands to the floor. Step back to downward facing dog. Hips up. Inhale, high plank, come forward. We're coming through the flow. Chaturanga, bend your elbows. Inhale, up dog, chest through. Exhale, down dog, hips up. One more big breath. And then a walk, step, or a jump to the top. Feet up. Halfway lift as you're there. Exhale to fold again. Stand tall and reach up. Big breath in at the top. Again, folding forward, it's going to change. Hands down. Halfway lift. Left foot stepping back. Now, keep the back knee really straight. So we're going to prevent the hips from rotating as you raise your right hand up, but concentrate on your hips not moving. Right hand up into simple twist, easy twist. 2-ish breaths here. Try and turn your bottom shoulder in towards your knee. One more breath. And then lower the back knee down. Take the hand off the floor and reach it up for the ceiling. Right hand either to the lower back or maybe down the thigh for some of us, but keep lifting through the left side of your rib cage. Sink the hips forward, yet squeeze your left glute hard. Take another big breath here. Deeper twist. Left elbow on top of the front knee, hands coming together into prayer. Now before we go into any further, lift the chest so the chest kind of moves away from the thigh, but the prayer becomes a little bit deeper and the twist is on. Now sink the hips just a touch more, weights in the front foot, and then pick up the back knee. Holding. Again, stiffen that knee out and squeeze your left glute. We'll just take one more big breath here. A little bit of work on the legs. Reach the arms straight out in front of you. Extended arrowhead. Big breath in here. 2 hands to the floor. Straighten through the front leg and fold. 2 more of these. Inhale, lunge. Reach the arms out. Lift the chest just a little. Collarbones up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Straighten the leg and fold. 1 more. Inhale, lunge and reach. Exhale, hands to the floor and fold. This time, 3-legged dog. Bend the knee. Front foot lifting up and out. Tilt the hip up. Really bend the knee and lift. 1 big breath more here. And as you exhale, tap the right knee to right elbow. Squeeze it in nice and tight. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale, knee to your nose, pull it in. Inhale, back up. Exhale to the left elbow, under the body. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Inhale, back up. And then stepping the right foot outside your right hand into a very loose lizard lunge. So a little bit of hip circling, bit of movement through the hips. Nothing too serious. Be gentle and playful with it. Let the breath settle down a little bit. 2 more big breaths, and we really want to give the body just a really good opportunity to warm up here. Breath or 2 more, playful, inquisitive. And then if it's not already, pick up the back knee, make it stiff, straight, and tight, and 2 choices. Either step the right leg back into side plank and hold, or wild thing. Step that right leg over, lift the hips and rotate. Turn the chest, lifting, lifting. 1 more big breath, push the ground away. Stick with me for the transition. As the right hand comes down, cross the right knee under the body, kick it out to the other side into fallen triangle. Maybe the foot comes down, maybe it stays up. Hold for a breath. It's going to get tricky here. 1 more big one. Your back foot, your left foot, step it to the top left corner of your mat. Right foot to the top right corner of your mat and into a squat. Sit the hips down, chest up, belly in. I'm really looking to stabilize the pelvic floor here. Take all of the curve out of the lower back. So if that means sitting higher, do that. And take 2 more good breaths. Press the knees out through the power of your glutes. And then release. 2 hands to the floor, a step or a jump back into chaturanga through the flow. Inhale, up dog, chest through. Exhale, down dog, hips up. Breath or 2 more. And then a walk, step, or a jump to the top. Feet up. Halfway lift as you're there. Exhale to fold again. Stand tall, reach up. Exhale to fold, straight back in, hands to the ground. Halfway lift. Right foot stepping back, and again, stiff knee, straight knee. Left arm raising up. So we want all that twisting action through the thoracic spine, which is the upper spine, below the neck and above that lumbar area of the lower back. So it's right in the mid back around where your rib cage is. Rotate there. Another big breath. Lower the back knee down. Take the hand off the floor and reach it up. It's more about your ribs lifting here than your arm lifting. So lift from the bottom rib, squeeze your right glute, and sink the hips and hold. Maybe even soften the shoulder blades a little bit here. Soften into it. One more big breath. Nice deep twist. Right elbow on top of the knee. Hands come together. So again, instead of collapsing the chest, lift the chest away from it. It feels like you're coming out, but you're actually going deeper. Twist, rotate through the shoulders, and then sink the hips forward to pick up the back knee. Holding. 2 good breaths. Strong back knee. Keep the thigh active and working. Extended arrowhead. Reach the arms out in front of you. Big breath in here. Hands to the floor. Straighten through the front leg and fold. 2 more. Inhale, lunge, reach, collarbones up. Exhale, hands to the floor and fold. Last one. Inhale, lunge and reach. Exhale, hands to the floor and fold. This time, take a 3-legged dog. Bend the front knee. Lift that front foot up and out. Bend at the knee. Tilt the hip up. 1 big breath here. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Squeeze it in. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale, knee to the nose. Pull it in. Inhale, back up. Finally, to the right elbow. Cross it under. Really try and squeeze it in here. Inhale, back up. And then gently stepping outside your left hand into a lizardy lunge. So take your time to move into it. A little bit of hip movement, a little bit of circling around and all that kind of business, explorative, inquisitive. The knee can turn out, it can stay in, but get to know what's going on in the hip. So there's this awareness through sensation, a sense of knowledge that transforms into wisdom. How you apply that knowledge to yourself in the moment. We'll give it just 1 more big breath here, maybe 2. Give it a little bit longer. Just starting to get good. Alrighty, here we go. Side plank or wild thing. Back knee lifts. Make the leg really stiff and then step back. Either clear the leg immediately or stack them up. Chest lifts in that wild thing. Push the ground away through the shoulder. Another big breath here. All right, here we go. Left hand comes down, plank. Left knee under the body. Kick it out to the other side into fallen triangle. Right hand raises up. Maybe a little lean back. 1 more breath. Now find that left foot, the outside foot really planted, solid. Right foot, back foot. Step it up to the top right corner. Left foot, top left corner. Up you come. We take a couple of good breaths as I reorganize my microphone. And as you stabilize your pelvic floor, lift through the chest, shoulder blades squeeze back. Couple of easy breaths here. So bit of pressure, squeezing the knees out. You've got active glutes sort of supporting the base right around your sitting bones. 1 more big breath here now. We come through the flow. Step or jump back. Chaturanga. Inhale, finds up dog, chest through. Down dog, hips up. 2 really good breaths here to stabilize and steady. Back to the top of the mat. Walk, step, or jump your feet forward. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold again. Feet together now as you stand up. Reach up and stretch up. More traditional chair pose. Bend the knees, sink the hips, belly in, and then go ahead and turn to your right, hooking the left elbow around the knee. Now really establish a firm sort of base here. Sink some body weight through your hips down, weights in the heels, and then slowly pick up your left foot. Take a sec and try and tap that left knee to the back of the calf. Take a big breath. Slide it down as much as you can. You're going to feel the working leg really working. And then gently step that foot back into a twisted lunge. Sink the hips but lift the collarbones. Back leg really stiff and straight. Feel longer and longer. Back leg longer, chest longer, spine longer. One more big breath. 2 hands to the floor, release. Inhale, puff the chest forward on fingertips. As you straighten through the front leg, lift the front ball of the foot and fold. Inhale, lunge. Lift the collarbones. Exhale, straighten the leg and fold. Last one. Inhale to lunge. Exhale, back to the fold. This time as you lunge, lift the back leg up into a standing splits. Now tilt the left hip up and open a little bit extra. So you're rolling the left hip up. Take your right hand, start to reach for your right hip and search for the foot. If it's not accessible, drop the left knee down so you can grab a hold of your foot next to your knee more and then start to lift the leg up and hold. If you want a little extra juice here, left hand takes the outside of the right ankle and draw your left shoulder in towards your big toe. We take 2 more big breaths, holding. Big breaths. And release. Left foot steps back into warrior 2. Open out the arms to a T. Immediately straighten the front leg and reach up. Open the ribs, open the hip. And then come back through warrior 2 into side angle. Elbow to knee or maybe hand to the floor, but top arm wrapping behind your lower back into a half bind. If you'd like to take the full bind, reach your right arm under the thigh, interlock the fingers, or carve out a pathway towards that full bind and reach your right hand back towards your belly. So you're getting what's called internal rotation on your arm and your shoulder. And then keep rolling the top shoulder back. Sink the hips down and in without the front knee coming forward too much. A little bit's okay. Holding, back leg stiff and strong, plant the floor. One more big breath. And then lift. Lift the chest out, straighten through the front leg, reach up and out. Back to a T shape. Might like to shorten up the stance, just a heel toe in at the back there. Let the belly suck in hard, core active for triangle. Front big toe presses. Let the hips sink back. Right hand sliding down anywhere. Left hand moving up. In this triangle, make your neck happy. So maybe you're looking out to the side or just a few degrees off looking for the ceiling. Make it happy. But imagine your front big toe is like an anchor point. So you pin the toe in, not 100%, just 50%. And then keeping that activation through the belly space, start to sink your hips back a little bit, but you're going to feel it load up pretty quickly. Take it easy. Back thigh is still stable and strong. One more big breath here. And as your left hand comes down like an elephant's trunk, sink your hips to the back foot into Skandasana, turning the foot out. Chest up, belly in. 2 more big breaths right here. Nice and steady, nice and slow. And then as you return to the original top of the mat, we find Cleopatra. Left hand moves forward, turn to your right and sink the hips. Reach for the back of the mat. Inhale, lift the hips, sweep the right hand up over the head. Exhale to sink it back down. We do it one more time. Inhale to lift up. Exhale to lower down. A little bit tricky here. So lift the hips just enough to slide your back foot, your left foot, up next to your right foot into a cross-legged forward fold. Now you're going to be facing the right-hand side of your mat, somewhere up the mat, who knows where, maybe the top third, and then folding forward. Now be gentle here. We're only here for 2 big breaths, but a cross-legged forward fold. Your left leg is behind the right one. Be gentle. Your left leg is a little bit colder than your right one. We'll take 1 more big breath. Now go slow. That back foot, left foot, we're using it. So take your time, little bend in the knees. As you stand up, hug your right knee in towards your chest. I got my back to you, but listen for the voice and find a figure 4, placing the right ankle onto the left knee. Start to turn to your left, to the original top of the mat, elbow towards the sole of the foot. Maybe you physically manipulate, pressing the hand into the heel to push that leg across and think about the elbow or the outer arm coming onto the foot. Now either hands to prayer or reaching the right hand to the floor, left hand up. Holding, breathing. 2 more big breaths right here. You got this. Knee to chest as you stand up. Arms up. Squeeze the knee in towards your belly. Find your balance. I will too. And then similar but different to before, hands to prayer. Step the right foot behind the left one and back into a cross-legged forward fold. Once you're there, take an inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to settle and sink into that posture. So it's an intense little posture, I think. We give it just 2 more big breaths. Now, if you want a little bit more intensity here for the last few breaths, we'll stay a little bit longer. Left hand coming down, halfway lift, and raise a right hand up. Holding and breathing. Center the hips, find the balance. Little bend in the front knee is good. 1 more big breath here. And as your right hand comes down, turn the body to the back of the mat, rotate, spin, and you should end up facing the other side of the mat, feet side by side. Hopefully, are you with me? Take an inhale to halfway lift. Chair pose, bend the knees, sink the hips, arms up. Big breath in. Hands to prayer, turn to your right and twist. Elbow around the knee, doesn't matter where you are here. We're going to take some time and sink into side crow. So try and lift the heels, sink the hips down to the heels, and find just a good contact of your thighs squeezing together. So you got your left elbow around your right knee, hands coming towards the top of your mat. Now here's the trick. The left elbow goes way deeper around the thigh. So I like to manually push that leg into, sort of nestle it into your armpit as much as you want. But you're trying to get the knee above the elbow. That's the key. That's the absolute key. And as your hands come down facing the original top of the mat, squeeze your thighs together. Don't let them go. The 2 thighs are now 1. And as you tuck in the elbow nice and tight, lift up your hips, shift body weight forward, and take a little bit of a face dive. So as you're diving your face in, plant your right hip onto your right elbow and shift body weight forward. So tuck, tuck, tuck. Squeeze the knees in, holding, collarbones forward. 1 more big breath. Maybe you shoot back into chaturanga. Maybe you plant your feet and we come through a flow. Inhale finds up dog. Exhale finds down dog, hips up. 2 big breaths. Walk, step, or jump to the top. Feet up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold again. Inhale, stand tall, reach up, big breath in. Hands to prayer, chair pose. Bend the knee, sink the hips. Turn left, elbow around the knee. Sink the hips nice and deep. So really want the weight into the left foot. Pick up your right foot. Tap the knee to the back of the calf. Find your balance. Holding, sinking. We're trying to make the standing leg work here. Hold. 1 more big breath. Twisted lunge. Step the right foot back. Establish the foot. You might have to shimmy around a little bit, but sink the hips, lift the chest, and rotate. 2 big breaths here. Back leg really strong. Release. 2 hands to the floor. Inhale, puff the chest forward, sink the hips a little. As you straighten through the front leg, pick up the ball of the foot. 2 more. Inhale, lunge, lift the collarbones. Exhale, back to the fold. Last one. Inhale, lunge. Exhale to fold. Standing splits. Back leg lifting up. So lift the hip up, bend the knee, search for the foot, and we're really trying to look for the lift of that knee. So the right glute should be working hard to keep the knee up. Now, maybe you challenge your balance, reaching the right hand for the ankle, drawing the chest and the shoulder down towards the big toe, looking for length in the depth. Length in the depth. Don't compress too much. Don't round too much. Another big breath, maybe 2. Hang in there. Warrior 2. As you step back, open the arms out, plant the foot, straighten the front leg, get out of there. Reach up and back. Back through warrior two and into side angle. As you bend your front knee, bring the elbow to the knee or maybe hand to the floor. Top arm wrapping behind the lower back. Roll back the shoulder. Strengthen up the back thigh and sink the hips in. Full bind is absolutely welcome, or find that little modification, reaching the hand back towards the belly. But again, hips sinking, back legs straight, hold. Another breath or two. Next inhale, lift up, lift out, straighten the front leg, reach up, open up the hip. Back to a T shape, shorten up the stance a little, triangle, front big toe planted, core active. Sink the hips back, left hand down, right hand up. I think triangle is just absolutely critical to keep your core active. It really makes a big difference, especially over the lifetime of a practice. So concentrate on it. Front big toe pressing. Inner thigh is engaging. So there's a little bit of lift on the kneecap as you squeeze the thigh. Belly in. Hips are actively pulling back, but under tension through the activation of the muscles. Holding. Back leg still strong. 2 more good breaths here. Take it slow. Pivot on the back heel as the right hand comes down, Skandasana at the back. Turn the foot out, sink the hips in. Holding, breathing. An intense little resting spot. 1 more big breath here or so. Back to the top of the mat for Cleopatra. Right hand sliding forward. And we start to get a little wicked and wild here. So turn to the left. Reach for the back of the mat. Sink the hips. We pulse. Inhale, lift. Sweep the arm up over the head. And then sinking back down. 1 more of those. Inhale, lift. Exhale, back down. This time, just lift the hips enough to slide the right foot up next to the left one. You're facing the left-hand side of the mat. Cross-legged forward fold. Back into this odd little position, intense position, I think, quite challenging for my hips. We take an inhale to halfway lift and then fold back in. So the front knee can be bent. It's the back leg that's looking to straighten and work with what feels like definitely the back of the leg, the hamstring, but maybe a little bit on the outside of the leg too. 2 more big breaths. All right. Fun and tricky transition. Back foot is planted. Little bend in the knee, so soft knees. The front foot, your left foot. Knee draws in as you stand up, hands to prayer. Figure 4 as you get there. Sink the hips in. All right, you got a better visual this time. So right hand, I think, really helps to bring it to the heel to just get the little bit of depth of twist there. Bringing the elbow up to the foot on the upper arm, on the tricep, and looking for the right arm to raise up. Think of pulling the chest towards the top of the mat through your shoulders, but obviously managing the balance as well. Holding for 2 more big breaths. Hands to prayer. Stand up, knee to chest, control the movement. Belly in, right glute strong, hold. Left foot stepping behind the right leg to fold again. Soft knees, take your time coming in. Organize the exact position. A little bit of a scooch here and there to make it comfy. Halfway lift, fold in. Take at least a couple of breaths here just to settle into the shape. But if you want more, left hand coming down. No, it's right hand. Right hand coming down. Left hand raising up. Left hand up. So you're facing the back of the mat if you're in the twist. Holding. 2 more big breaths here. Bit of balance, bit of twist, bit of fold. Super complex shape. Another one, big breath. 2 hands to the floor. All right. So you turn your chest towards the back of the mat to your left. rotate, pivot on the feet. You'll end up facing the other side of the mat, hopefully feet side by side. Take an inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold again. Roll up the spine through to standing. Reach up and stretch up. Little back bend this time. And then into chair pose. Bend the knees, sink the hips. Turn to the left, to the top of the mat. Hook the elbow around the knee. Sink the hips to the heels. And let's set it up for side crow. So I reckon the two tricks to doing it, the two hot tips are, one, the elbow coming deep around the leg. If the elbow is, or if the knee rather, or the thigh is down around the elbow, it's almost impossible. So it's got to be up, nestled into the armpit, onto the tricep. That's part one. Hands facing the top of the mat. Now part two is to stay in a tight ball, and that's your obliques working, that's your core working. I know it's tricky, but try and stay tight. So thighs together, hug in, create a tight little ball, compress, and as you shift body weight forward, drop your left hip onto the elbow, keep shifting body weight forward, collarbones reach forward as you find the balance, holding, 2 big breaths. And then we come through the flow. Step or jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Hips up. 1 or 2 breaths. And then drop down to the knees and come to a kneeling position. Shut down the eyes. We just let things settle and soften for a few moments. Big work on the body, and we want to regain that fundamental slowing down of the breath now to a bit more of a controllable level, a little bit less interaction of the elevated heart rate. We guide this process of softening and settling. Soft jaw, soft eyes. You're physically curating the internal experience of the body. Last breath or two here. Alrighty. Open the eyes. Lift the hips away from the heels, and we'll look at camel pose. So nice deep back bend. I think one of the nicest things that we can do with a really open thoracic spine and the twists is to actually move into back bends with it. Really, really nice and open through this upper region of the spine. So concentrate there. Squeeze your glutes, press your hips forward, and keep that openness on the front of the hips, but start to lean back and hinge at the knee. So now the thighs are lit up from the knees to the hips. Keep that action going, a feeling of tucking, belly in, hands to the lower back. Lift the chest, but keep your chin in. Roll back the shoulders and down. Maybe bring the hands to your heels. If you're going hands to heels, suck the belly in. Press the chest towards the ceiling. Now really push the head back and then open the chin up. If not, keep the chin in. You might start to turn your hands out, thumbs turn out, palms to the inside of the heel to exaggerate that opening of the chest. But keep your glutes tight and your belly in. Stabilize your core. 2 more big breaths. And release. Hips sinking back and down to sit onto the heels again. Just 1 or 2 breaths. Let things settle. Release all this sort of superficial tension. Distribute that force into the floor. Onto your belly now. Coming all the way down to lay flat. I'm going to crack open the chest. So as you're ready, reach your left arm straight out to the side of your mat. So your hand is in line with your shoulder out to the side. And then roll onto your left hip. Head can rest on the floor. If you've got a pillow or a block, that can be nice under there too. Adjust the hips. Move them in a little bit. And now the right knee might point up toward the ceiling. It might be down. But use the right hand on the floor to roll open initially and adjust the hips into a position where you might be able to start to rotate your right hip over the left one, and then utilize the weight of your leg tipping out to the side. So even in this shape, we've got a little bit of twisting going on. Emphasize that. Release into the belly space. And then concentrate on your left shoulder blade. Try and let the shoulder blade and into the actual shoulder itself sort of soften as much as you can. We look for an especially slow, drawn out and complete exhalation. So we really want to get rid of the breath here all the way to the bottom. In part, you're deepening the twist, you're deepening that release on the hip. In another form, you're wiping the slate clean. The breath empties out, so the body is completely empty of breath. And that allows for the next round of breath to be just really efficient, really fresh. So we're not hanging on to any residual breath from one round to the next. Just like you sort of empty out the dregs of a coffee at the bottom of a cup, the next pot is nice and fresh with nothing left over from the last one. Let's just stay for 3 more big breaths. Rolling out, rolling down. Take as long as you need. And as soon as you're ready, come to the other side. Right arm sticks out. Rolling over. Adjust your hips. Get the neck comfy. And as you're getting stuck into the posture, bring a real sense of softness into your belly. Let the rotation start to happen through the hips, turning the left hip over the right one. And then up through the shoulder blade, the shoulder, the ribs. Easy breathing. Last few here, empty, completely empty breaths. Last 2 breaths. And then release. Come on down nice and slow. Easy does it, coming out. Push back to child's pose as you're ready. Hips to the heels, fetal position. Take a few moments to yourself. If you'd rather be in a kneeling position, do that. But just take a sec to let everything neutralize and stabilize. Breath or two more. And then crawling towards sort of the top half of your mat. And then we'll look at hero pose, Virasana. So turn out your calves and sit inside your heels, but it might take a little bit of negotiation just with your knees. Take your time. If this is absolutely yucky on your knees or your ankles, please sit on something, whether it's a couple of cushions or a block if you've got one, something to elevate the seat and open up the angle on the knee and the ankle itself. But it might come in stages, this shape. This is a really strong shape for a lot of us, especially if you've got a sort of seated job or you're doing a lot of driving and stuff, for sure. So please don't push your joints. That's not where you should be feeling it, and this won't help to open them up if they need a little bit of time and space. So if there's anything negative happening in those joints, please don't push it. I can't stress this one enough. But if you're fairly comfortable, tuck your tail and then lower yourself down onto your back or thereabouts. And again, it might come in stages. So it might be the hands to the elbows and eventually maybe all the way down. We try and settle in here. Not too long, but definitely long enough to feel it. Easy breathing. Over time, over the course of this posture, you might like to pick up your seat, squeeze your glutes, and tuck your tail a little bit extra. But more than anything, concentrate on your abdominal space, on your belly space. Let it be soft. Let it feel like the lower back isn't clenching. Let all the vertebrae in your lower back settle towards the floor. But that's going to come from releasing your belly and those lower back muscles are right around the spine. But just concentrate on more of a settling and sinking than anything here. Nice and gentle, nice and soft. You'll notice in these stronger positions, more contorted positions, the body has inbuilt protective mechanisms. Muscles tense up to protect joints when you're pushing too hard into it. So take note of these things. If you notice you're clenching and you can't release, it's too deep. There should be a sense of being able to curate the experience. And more than that, you're curating a deep sense of listening into an application of compassion and empathy. Well-being is at the heart of this practice. Some sort of harmonization and balance. And so let that really bring deep softness in. No need to force, no need to strain, no need to grit your teeth and sort of bear it. Let it be a fairly pleasant process, even though it might be a little bit challenging. Certainly a little uncomfortable. Slow breaths. 5 more if we can. Breath or 2 more. All right, the tricky part is coming out. So take your time, squeeze your glutes a little bit, I think, to initially just prop yourself up. Wriggle your elbows back behind you, and then lift up and out. Come onto all fours to tabletop, and then just take a sec. You might sort of just kick one leg out really slowly. You want blood flow back in through those joints, through the knees and the ankles before they move too much. So, blood flow equal to movement. Take a breath or two more. And then when you feel ready enough, take your legs out to the side and then out in front of you. I'll turn sideways on your mat, but you're welcome to be wherever you want to be. And we'll take it into a wide-legged forward fold. So really do take your time. If you need a little bit of a shake out and all that sort of stuff, take your time on those poor old knees. And then walking your sitting bones back, lift through your back, lift through your feet. So we want a really active base. So this lower section of the body is really structured. Shins active, thighs active, belly lifts, and then pushing the belly space up and in between the legs. So there's this really kind of lift and circular motion into the fold. We're looking for the collarbones to come out between the feet, not back towards the hips, but out between the feet. And that might mean staying nice and high. I mean, for myself, I feel it deeper here, staying high and concentrating on my belly and ribs pressing forward, rather than going sort of, aesthetically deeper and rounding. Not much happens there. It becomes very acute on the inner leg. We want a full kind of engagement of the entire inside back of the leg. There's stuff happening in the lower back as well, obviously. But keep this little bit of structure, a little bit of integrity there. We take nice big breaths. So back body expanding breaths. And yet the shoulders soften a little bit, more just for the feeling of the experience, not to relax too much into it and just sort of, flop out, but more just to bring these little gestures in that can really make a difference to the mood. Not such a long hold here, maybe just 3 or 4 more breaths. Last one, big breath. And with an inhale, lifting up, lifting out. Draw the legs together. And let's come down onto the back. So as you lie down, draw your knees in towards your chest. If you want to take it towards happy baby for a brief moment, feel free. But as soon as you're ready, we'll come into figure 4. Actually, you know what might be nice just first? Feet on the floor. Lift the hips up towards the ceiling and to bridge just a breath or two. Just kind of open up again. That feels nice. And then release. Come on down. All right, let's do that figure 4. So right ankle onto the left knee. Draw the legs in towards your chest and grab a hold of your shin. Now, this is nice, generous shape that you can really deepen no matter sort of how experienced you are with it. With the deepening, the knees coming in towards your chest, but your tailbone lowers down. So there's a sense of length of your sitting bones towards the top of your mat. If you do want more than that, however, cradle the baby. So you take your right foot into the crease of your left elbow, the bend of your elbow, wrap your arms around the shin and interlock your fingers. So you've got a good hold on that shin baby. And then the foot looks to come up towards your shoulder, or kind of like your neck, the left-hand side of your neck. But you're keeping it sort of in line with the shoulder itself. You're not trying to draw it across to the face necessarily. And the foot's coming down. Again, same deal on the sitting bones. Extending towards the top of the mat. I just give it 2 or 3 breaths here. And then final twist. Take that right leg over to the left-hand side of your mat. We're not going to stay here long. We've done plenty of twisting. More just like a little neutralization and a reset. Drop your right shoulder. Loosen your belly. And more than that, almost feel like your right hip, this top hip that you've got access to, push that away from you a little bit. So there's a length through the right hand side of your body, from the shoulder down to the right hip. 2 more breaths, a little bit longer. Alrighty, back through center. Let's just do 1 round of bridge here to separate the 2 sides. Hips up, nice tight squeeze of the glutes, 1 breath. And then release, come on down. Figure 4, the other side. Left ankle, right knee. Draw the legs in. If you're taking it towards cradling the baby, feel free. And they don't have to be exactly the same on both sides. You might do cradling the baby on one side, not the other. We've all got really big differences left to right side of the hips, and they might need slightly different application. If you're cradling, now's the time. Taking that foot. Again, don't compromise the tailbone coming down. So a little bit of that, just that sense of direction. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you're just creating these little senses of direction. Hips going this way, shoulders going that way, foot going this way. 3 more big breaths. All right, final twist. Take that left leg over to the right hand side of your mat. Nice deep twist. Left shoulder opening. Left shoulder blade sinking down. Last 2 big breaths. Release back through center. Wrap up your practice however you'd like to. An inversion might be really nice here, or just hugging the knees in, finding happy baby might be enough. Legs up, shoulder stand if you wanted it. Nothing too severe though. But as soon as you feel ready, let's go ahead and come down into Shavasana. I am certainly ready for that. Let the shoulders tuck back and underneath you a little bit further. And a deep sense of release here. Relax the back of the neck and your jaw. Let the shoulders sink. Let the ribs settle. Belly settle. Let go of any control over your breathing. In Shavasana, we look to maintain just staying with the body. This sense of presence, this sense of listening. And yet, very little is happening. We step back from engaging with the body. We just let the body sort of take care of itself for a moment. We ask it to do nothing. And in that, it has a few moments to utilize its own intelligence. Repair starts to happen in the body. When you're not asking it to do anything, it has some free time to do some housekeeping. And so just give it a couple of minutes here to soften and settle. Total sense of release. Nice deep breath in. Shift your attention to the space around you. Become aware of sounds close to the body and then in the distance. Let your hearing jump from sound to sound and engage with the space around you. Start to introduce movement when you're ready. Have a wriggle, have a stretch, awaken. And then when the moment's right, turn off to a side and come up to a seated position. As you're in that seated position, we bring the hands to prayer at heart center. We take the hands into this position as a symbolic gesture, a gesture of unity and togetherness, and ultimately that sense of unity in the form of compassion. It's with that very thought in mind that we take a humble bow of the head and say namaste. A pleasure, a joy as always. Take care, have a beautiful rest of the day, and hopefully see you soon. Thank you.